Hello and welcome to our first ever Movie City podcast. In our podcasts, we are going to discuss and analyze many movies and TV shows. Before we begin, don't forget to join our Discord server and follow us on our social media.
First show, we decided to talk about 2017's The Shape of Water, written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, starring Sally Hawkins, Michael Shannon, Richard Jenkins, Octavia Spencer, Michael Stuhlbarg, and Doug Jones. At a top secret research facility in the 1960s, a lonely janitor forms a unique relationship with an amphibious creature that is being held in captivity. The film won 4 Academy Awards in 2018: Best Directing, Best Movie, Best Original Score, and Best Production Design. Beware that there are spoilers. So, guys, what did you think about the movie?
Personally, I quite enjoy it. The 2 hours of screen time that Toro offers us are quite right and a good one too. Actually, my favorite part is the love story between Eliza and the creature. We learn he's not actually a creature, but because he has emotions and feelings, he shows them to Eliza. Um, Eliza, we learned in the start of the movie that Eliza is mute, and in a way, that's the best. Is something that they both have in common because as a creature he can't talk, and they have something in common that personally that works for me. I don't know about you guys.
I also quite liked their love story because it seemed natural and not like that she saw him and just fell in love immediately. She had a progression, a progression with her interactions with him. At first, she saw him struggle and fed him and tried to save him. After that, she declared him as a friend, and after that, she started to see him as a love interest. And I think it was quite interesting, and I think the whole movie was enjoyable, and I think most of us liked it. I don't know.
I I wasn't such a huge fan of the movie, but I totally get what you were saying about their love story. I think it was very interesting to realize that although Eliza is special since she's mute, she connects with the amphibian man. He's not a man exactly, but he's more than a creature. Something that makes them connect. As you can see, like the scars that Eliza has on both sides of her neck look like exactly like gills, in my opinion. And I think that's something very interesting. And I think that's something that they have in common, besides that they can't talk.
So what you're trying to say that in a way it works for them.
I think that they are similar, although they are different because, again, the it, the amphibian man or whatever, he's not a man. He's not a human. He's a creature. He may be like a god, as they say, as Strickland says, but he's not a man. And that's something very interesting for me. But I think they are still similar, as I said before, because they can't communicate with their voice, but only with their expressions.
For me personally, I think that the scars that Eliza had were made up in order to serve the plot of the movie. And one thought I had it was that the creature, the amphibian man, had made the scars on Eliza by an accident when she was young, and after that, he would heal her or use them for her living underwater. But I think it was made up as Del Toro used it.
I think that what you said makes a lot of sense because when we first learn about the background and the story of Eliza, we I think I don't remember who said that. I think Zelda said that, but I'm not exactly sure. She said that they found her by the river, and that I think makes sense. Like what you said makes sense since they said they found her by the river.
I don't know. It feels kind of stretched out for me.
So, about what you said for the scars on her neck that seem kind of made up, I get what you're saying, and why you see it from that point of view, but I think it was more like a symbolism in order to show that although they are different, because she's a human, they have similarities, and this was kind of their way to bond, because it's not just that they can't talk. They have a chemistry overall, and I think that was the unique part about their love story.
Obviously, that's what they were going for, and I don't think there was a backstory to her scars.
I'm not saying it's perfect, just that I get why they did it, and I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, same. But you know,
I don't
Yes, okay.
think I don't think that the way they built their chemistry though is very, I don't know. In my opinion, the whole like egg stuff, like when when Eliza first met the creature, she was afraid, and then when she saw the creature again, she started giving him like eggs and playing him music. I think that was kind of, I get why they did that, but I think it's kind of awkward. It was something that I wasn't such a huge fan of.
I don't really see it that way because it goes to show that the creature has intelligence and it's above, if I can say, other animals that do not have the same intellect as him. Because the first people he saw in the facility were people that tortured him and used him for experiments, and Liza was the only one that tried to save him and make a connection with him, not just
He
to
was afraid.
gain a
He was
benefit.
afraid, clearly.
Yeah, but after that, he saw that she was friendly to him and want to help him in some way, and that I think contributed to their connection.
and if you really think about it, they couldn't do anything, something else. For example, they couldn't go to a movie bond or do something in that particular area because he was something that society had never seen before and would obviously be scared of. So they
Look,
were limited to
I
some
get what
stuff.
you're saying, but still, I think, look, if that happened to you, to any of you, if you ever saw a creature like that, would you be so calm? Would you just sit next to it and like offer him food? Like, I don't know, I wouldn't do that. I would be afraid. I think that's true for everyone. It was a wild creature. I don't know.
Yeah, but when she first met him, he was injured. He was afraid, clearly, he was bleeding. So I think that's why they both kind of overlooked some facts and had the opportunity to bond. Like,
I don't know.
they didn't meet in the jungle. Like, she wasn't uh, on Amazon. Where
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Amazon? Yeah.
But it still seems like crazy for me. I don't get it.
Okay.
I get what you're saying again, but still, it's kind of awkward, and I think everyone can agree with that because, like, you know, she's working on a facility in a facility that probably they do things similar to that. So why with that creature in particular? I don't know.
I think it's because it looked more humane than other creatures that they made had, because they call him in the credits amphibian man, so he's like a man but not really. He has ability to do other things, but he cannot talk like Eliza, and that makes him seem humane in Eliza's eyes.
Yeah, I get that. And again, besides that, I really like the love story because I think the creature cared about Eliza a lot. And when the creature helped Eliza, like um, I don't know, the creature didn't help Eliza. The creature healed Eliza and from the bullets. But also, I think that the scene in which Eliza is singing, in my opinion, this one may be like a dream, but I think it could also be true that Eliza like could speak, since like how did like the when the creature like that's um the head of like Giles' head, he grew here, and I think when the creature touched Eliza, she she got her voice back. I may be wrong, but I think it makes sense.
So yeah, I also like the love story between them, but I think they could have expanded the side characters more. I think there's some interesting plots they could have put into the movie. Like with Giles, they could have done something with his backstory. Maybe they could have talked a little bit more about his sexual orientations. I think they could have expanded his story a little bit more. Maybe talk about his insecurities, because back then it was difficult for gay people to talk with someone openly, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it was very difficult for them to express themselves. And as we saw in the movie, Giles like liked the diner, the waiter in the pie store, and he tried to approach him. He touched his hand and he told him that he would like to know him better. And the waiter was like, I would say surprised and at the same time afraid, because he saw an old man coming to his store every day, and then at the end he did try to hit on him, and I think that made him very upset. And I think that says a lot about the society back then. He even asked him to leave the store and never come back.
Yeah,
Yeah, same thing with the African Americans when they went into the store and he told them to leave. And I think there's a lot of discrimination back then.
Yeah, and I think that the
And
movie shows that perfectly. I think it's very descriptive, and like
yeah,
even Zelda had the same issues with Strickland. When Strickland talked about God, he said, "Do you know how God looks?" And she said, "How can I know?" And then he said, "He looks like us, like you and me." And then he says, "Most probably more like me than you." So I think that, yeah, again, the racism during this era was really bad. And I think that the movie shows that perfectly.
yeah, I think that that line there that Strickland said shows that he had a god complex, and he was a perfectionist, and he just always wanted to win, and he always wanted to be on top of everything.
In a matter of fact, since you mentioned the waiter that with Giles, I think that the waiter could also liked him back, but he was afraid. Like he showed that he was afraid, so he didn't accept his emotions, like embrace them to show them to Giles.
I think that's a really good point, because as we said, it's a very like strict society. It was a strict society back then, and not everyone was very accepting. And I get what you're saying, because at the beginning, I also thought that the waiter had feelings for Giles. Since he offered him a free pie, she asked him to visit them again and stuff. She had a conversation with him. I thought that they had similar feelings for each other. But at the end, we see that I don't know if he reacted like that, because if you saw that like on the background, you can see three ladies watching them, and he said
Mm.
that this is a family business, and I think probably the ladies there were part of his family, and I think
He could be afraid for his business, though.
I don't, yeah, this could be also true, but I think he was afraid to express himself in front of his family members. But yeah, you may be correct as well.
All right.
And obviously, in the 60s, being gay, running a business wasn't a good picture for anyone. It wasn't accepted.
So, guys, what did you think about the main antagonist of the movie, Strickland?
I personally think he was the most interesting character in the movie. As someone else said before, he had some power issues. He wanted to be the best. He wanted to be on top of everything, and I think that's what made him very interesting.
I think that when he started to lose control over the asset, as he called it, and and the general started to lose faith on him, he truly showed who he was, and so that he was kind of brainwashed, and the fact that he want to be controlled can be seen in the personal moment he has with his wife, as he wants her to shut up and let him do whatever he wants. And in general, thing Strickland didn't care about anything else than just getting the asset back to the lab, dead or alive. He didn't care if he killed any other people or even his boss. I think if he pissed him off more, he would have killed him.
I get
He
what you're
killed
saying.
Eliza.
And he
He
was talking
killed
about the
Eliza.
boss.
She tried to.
He
But
killed Eliza. Not, I think he killed Eliza, but then
Killed her,
that
and
creature.
but
Yes, yes.
amphibian
The creature
man.
revived her.
Yeah, I think it. I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I think if he got a bit more like crazy, because as you see, he was taking that pills very often. I don't know what these pills were for, but I think that, um, in addition with like how nervous he was about finding the creature, and I don't think he actually cared about finding the creature. He cared about his name. He didn't want anyone to think that he wasn't capable of like keeping the asset for the American government. I
To
think
feel
all,
powerful.
yeah, he wanted to feel powerful. I think all that made him like lose control. I think that made him a bit crazy.
a prime example is when he went to Zelda's house, to get information about the asset. He went out of his way to lie and shake Zelda's husband's hand, which under normal circumstances he wouldn't have done that. And that shows how much he wanted to remain in control and have the upper hand.
I get what you're saying, but in that scene, I think for me, the thing that shows me that he lost his mind was when he like ripped off his fingers. I think that was disgusting and it was like crazy. Why would he do that? Yeah, I think that shows us that he's
He
he's
was losing
losing.
control.
Mentally ill.
Yeah, he was mentally ill. He was mentally ill.
While we have Strickland, who cares only for himself, and he just wants to play God. On the other hand, we have Dimitri, who is a man of science, and he just wants to help the creature because he wants to understand it more, and he wants to improve humanity with his scientific research.
And I think that's something very important in the movie because we see a different, like we see that besides bad in the world, there is good. Dmitry, although he's a Soviet, I think that this is very important because like we see that besides bad, which is represented by Strickland, we have good, which is represented by Dmitry. Dmitry, although he is like a Soviet spy who is working for the American government, when the Russians asked him to, when the Soviets asked him to kill the amphibian man, he he's very skeptical and he doesn't want to do that. he even lies, and that I think cost him like his life, to help the creature stay alive. And he also tries to help science to move a step forward.
I think that Dimitri kept alive the asset, the amphibian man, because he saw that he could engage in communication and understanding with another human, and I think that that changed his opinion on him and wanted him to stay alive, not only for his scientific purposes, for the reason that he found a creature that could communicate with another human. And I think that Dimitri is purely obeying science because he said that he's a Soviet, I don't know, commander or what was he, that he came to America in order to serve science and learn. And the Soviets just used him for their benefit throughout the war.
I think Dimitri was, the sound of logic in the movie because she, as a scientist, it's his nature to want to discover new stuff, and killing the asset wouldn't help the cause, that particular cause. Because he saw that he had intelligence above the ordinary animals on Earth, and as a scientist, it would be out of character to not explore more of the asset's nature.
And something I forgot, I think that his relations with the Russians and him being a spy needed a bit more development because it didn't seem to me like he was a man that could use an asset, as if I can say it, in order to gain a benefit.
I think the sublet with the Russians was just enough screen time they needed because you take away from the important thing of the story, which was the relationship between the creature and Eliza. It would overshadow that part of the movie.
I think Dimitri was the most humane character of all. Um, why do I think that? The reason is that, besides, as we said, he's like a very logical person. He tries to help like the good, and like he represents, as I said, the good in the movie. Um, he also shows a different character, pissed off and like not very like smart character when he is dying. I think when Strickland is killing Dimitri, I think that he's doing something very foolish by saying, when Strickland is asking him who got the creature, what are their ranks and where are they, he said no ranks, no names. It was just cleaners. And I think that's something very like I don't expect to see that and hear that by Dimitri.
I think he did that just in order to end his suffering and die a bit more peacefully because Strickland was abusing his wounds that he caused and the other Russians did.
But didn't he think about the possibility that the creature wasn't like in the ocean yet, and that probably Eliza had feelings for the creature, and that by doing that he risked their life, both of Eliza and especially the creature, something that he wanted to protect, and he lost his life by protecting that. I think it's I think it's ironic.
I think that Dimitri just wanted to boast that um, just the cleaning staff alone was needed to um, actually get that creature out of there and no Russian spies or anyone with actual combat training, and he was proud of that maybe, and he wanted to tell Strickland that he was defeated by mere cleaning ladies.
Yeah, that's a very good point because he wanted to show him that he's not as smart as he thinks he is, and everything happened under his nose without him even realizing. Not even a bit. I think, yeah, that's a very good point. So, do you want to add anything else about Strickland or Dimitri?
I was thinking we could move on to a little bit, outside of the script wise stuff.
You mean
Like
like,
the actors.
the actors?
Yes. I wanted to specifically point out that Sally Hawkins, the actress that plays Liza, does an amazing job to always be with her, feel her emotions, understanding her without talking. Like, except the dream sequence, which is okay. Uh, you get why she's doing everything, what she's feeling, without talking. Like, body language on its own entirely. Like, well done. That's the only thing I'm saying.
I think all the actors played their part perfectly in the movie. I think
Sure, sure.
Eliza was like the one that everyone like loved the most.
Uh, because you talked about the body language of Elisa, I think that the amphibian man, the actor, also did a really good job depicting his emotions and what he wanted to express by not talking with, by, by not having the ability to talk. And I think that especially when he did the sign language thing to Elisa to show her that he wanted to eat. I think it was a really nice touch, and in general, the way he moved was exceptional.
Yes, Doug Jones is kind of his thing. Del Toro, like, uh, cast him on every single like that role. Pale Man, Hellboy 2. He gets him. He knows he can do it correctly, and I think he delivers every time.
I think that both actors make us realize that it's very important to express yourself and that you can do that without speaking. I think that's the point of the whole movie. I think that you can come close to someone by only showing him or her your true emotions.
It's amazing. It's a movie where both the two main protagonists don't speak. It's
Yeah,
remarkable.
yeah, that's something very nice about the movie.
Also, Michael Stillberg did an awesome job at the antagonist. You can feel that he's angry. You can feel that he's jealous sometimes. His emotions,
And
his rage.
I think again that it's ironic that someone like Eliza can express your feelings, in my opinion, better than Strickland. I think Strickland can't express his feelings.
You're talking character-wise, not
Yeah, character
actor-wise.
wise. No,
Okay.
character wise. I
I
think
think
Eliza has like something very special. She's very special, and we can see that throughout the movie.
I think that Strickland didn't express his feelings as much because he was a soldier and I think a high-ranking one. And because I think when you're at war or a soldier, you don't want to show emotion and basically feel anything in order to focus on your goal to win. And I think that's in detail if he intended to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, and we can see that although Eliza is mute, she's like a better person and a very like most like I think she's more approachable than Strickland. I think Strickland has like he only cares about himself, as we said, and can't actually express what he's thinking. The only time that Strickland expresses himself by his actions is when he's getting crazy and he tries to kill the amphibian man.
I think that Strickland was able to express his feelings at the end because he thought he achieved his goal to to gain back the asset, and it showed that he had a very strong sense of purpose, although his purpose was wrong in a way. It showed that he has character. He's not just the bad guy of the movie that needs to be bad because he's the antagonist.
Yeah, I think everyone in this movie is unique, even the antagonist. And I think that's what makes the movie like one of the a very interesting one.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about more technical things. The movie doesn't have a lot of CGI. That's because of Del Toro. He does practical effects on every movie he does, and the practical effects here are mostly the costume for the creature, the amphibian man.
Wait,
And
you mean it's a costume? It's not CGI?
yeah, it's a costume.
Oh, I thought it was CGI.
If you go and look at the behind the scenes, it's mostly a costume, and he has like a little CGI rendering around his armpits
Uh huh.
to be a little bit more smoothly with the skin.
I
But
didn't know
mostly
that.
it's a costume,
That's impressive. Yeah.
and it's kind of Del Toro's thing to do that. And I wanted to point out the detail that I loved most about the costume is the way that he blinks. Did you notice it? It's like sideways blinking.
Yeah, and has a membrane that goes across his eyes before he opens them wide open.
It, it's amazing. Like,
Yeah, if he
holy.
did that without the CGI, it's marvelous. I don't know.
Yeah, it has a bit of CGI, but it's mostly a costume. Practical.
And I
No.
A lot of
think it
practical.
goes to show that big budget movies don't always need CGI. You can achieve greatness with practical effects.
Yes, always.
Something else I really liked about the creature was the color that Del Toro chose to use. What do you think about that?
I also wanted to point this out because it's not the color of his skin, that green blue, the teal color. It's like the whole movie grading. It's like you're watching it through a green filter, and there are many, like background stuff in this color. The color is like everywhere. At the lab, at the restrooms of the lab, at the costumes of the cleaning ladies, at the water, that both on the pool, on the lab, and on the bathtub's water, that in Eliza's house when the creature gets there. At the villain's car, Strickland's car, is that color, and it makes like a pretty interesting contrast with the reds, because the only red we practically see is blood, which is always kind of mixed with water. I think that the biggest clue that he wanted to point this out is Giles makes like a painting at a certain point to the film, and it has a jello, which is green, and he tries to sell it, and the buyer says to him that it, to turn it into red. So, it ties up with this amazing. I think it's a brilliant and very, very beautiful grading. The entire movie, really good frames. Like, it's a joy to your eyes.
I think that the way the creature lit up when he healed or when he healed was also a very nice touch of blue,
Yeah,
and I think it connected to his natural habitat, which is water.
yeah, sure. And the aspect ratio on the movie is a pretty interesting one. It's a 1.85 to 1, which is kind of rare. You don't see it every day. They mostly use that like 2 decades ago. Nowadays, not that much. but I liked it. I think that you can see the frame pretty well, and it has a depth, and yeah, overall it's really good. Also, the movie is shot digital, not in film, and it has some frames that I thought it was film completely, like waters and reflections. I thought it was film, but it's digitally shot. So yeah, good job with that also.
I think in general the cinematography and the scenery it is very beautiful and pleasing to the eye because in almost every shot he has a contrast between colors or shades and everything.
Yes. You know which scene stands up uh, really beautifully? The dream sequence. I mentioned that earlier. It's like a black and white sequence that's like from an old movie, 60s, and Eliza is singing. I think it could be connected to the fact that Eliza has like a theater outside her house. I don't know, but it's a beautiful scene overall, even if it's not connected in that way.
For me, the best scenes were the ones where either Strickland or Eliza and the creature were on the rain, standing. I think the rain hitting the ground and the sound and everything was on point there. I really enjoyed it. Know what you guys feel about this.
Yeah, I think that was very beautiful. I think music, picture, everything was beautiful.
Yeah, technical wise, sure. And I don't I think it was Dolby Atmos. Not sure. I didn't see it in
I
Dolby
think
Atmos.
it was 5.1, not
So yeah, it's 5.1, but yeah, it's really good for 5.1. And do you want to point anything else? The score of the movie, the original score, although it won an Oscar, I don't think it was that remarkable. I've heard it on Spotify, outside of the movie context, and it's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but you know, not that you're gonna hear it in repeat all the time, and it's going to stay that much with you.
Yeah, for sure. Soundtracks are not the thing that stands out in the movie for me personally.
I'm not saying it's bad. It's good. I just don't think it was that remarkable.
Yeah,
I
that's what
think,
I'm saying.
yeah, but I think that he didn't give that much attention or um, importance to the music because he wanted to showcase a bit more the interactions and the emotions of the characters and how they reacted in their environment. And the only music that it's clearly heard is the one that Eliza or Giles puts on the pickup machine.
So what you're trying to say is the need was intentional.
No, I think that purposely Del Toro didn't give that much of an importance to the music or I liked the score, but I think he didn't want it to be loud or that much in order to serve more of the interactions of the characters.
I just expected a little bit more from Alexander Desplat because he writes good music. Like in Deathly Hallows, I love his works, and here it was a little bit weaker, and that was an Oscar. That's what I'm pointing out.
Okay, I think there have been many Oscars that didn't deserve it, but
Yeah, okay, that's a whole other conversation, of course, but okay.
yeah.
So, guys, I think that was mostly what we all wanted to say. Does anyone has anything else to point out or comment on?
No, I think the key aspects of the movie. So do you want to wrap things up by giving a overall score?
Yes.
Uh, for me personally, I would give it a solid 7.5.
Okay, I didn't really like it that much, so I'm gonna give it a 6.5, let's say somewhere right there. Yeah.
So for me, I usually really love Del Toro's works, and this is a really, really good movie and one of his best. I think it deserves the Oscar, and if it didn't have that little thing that I wanted to explore a little bit more with Giles, it would have been perfect. So 8.5 out of 10.
I also quite liked the movie. I liked the characters, the score, the scenery, and I think I would give it something between an 8 and 8.5. But I think I'll stick with 8.5.
Okay.
I would say, okay, look, I liked the movie as I said, but I wasn't such a huge fan. I liked the love story besides how they started like communicating with each other. I think this one wasn't like really good in my opinion. I like the sound, I like the pictures, I liked all the characters, but I think some of them needed more like development, especially their backstory was was something important for me that we didn't see. So I would give the movie a 6.5.
All right.
So that means that if we add all the scores together, we get a 37.5 out of 50. That's a very good score. Okay, mine wasn't like the best rating, and I think that's what is deducting more points. But I still think it's a really good score for the movie.
Yeah, and I think if someone that hasn't seen it and has 2 hours to spare should see it.
I think everyone should definitely like see the movie. It's a very good one.
Yeah. Overall, we recommend it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Thank you very much for listening to our first podcast episode. Subscribe and hit the notification bell here on YouTube to be the first to know where new episodes go public. And don't forget to join our Discord server, link in the description down below. That's like our headquarters. You will be able to learn what the movie of the week will be way before the actual episodes, discuss the film with other people, and if you're lucky, who knows, maybe you can join us as a guest. You will learn tons of movies and TV show news to our news segment and will be able to join special events that we are planning. You can also follow us on all our Movie City social media. We will see you all next time.